Hello and welcome back to another series of the crash course to Indian history. Ami previous video gom palu prehistory mane ki aro different types of prehistory forms bilag or features bilag. Then we moved on to Indus Valley civilization. Eitu video ami gom pam about the Vedic Age. ঠিক আছে Indus Valley civilization or pasot ki hoisile ba ki features asile society ba manuhor. So, hetu hol Vedic Age. Yat ki pabo? Vedic Age ot apunaloge contents ot jodi sai amar ase introduction junto sob class or beginning ote ami dekhai diu. Then the features of early late Vedic and then society kenege asile features ot ahibo apunar society, economy, polity and religious life. Then aftermath or after the Vedic Age ki ase. So about Vedic Age, it started after the end of Indus Valley civilization, that is 1500 BC to 600 BC. Yet at a major difference from Indus Valley civilization was that Indus Valley civilization urban life asile. Here people have moved to rural settlements. And also ketaman theory juri previous video apunaloge saise ketaman theory asile. So that one of the prime theory or one of the most accepted theory was the arrival of this new group of people called the Aryans, the Aryan theory. ঠিক আছে? So hey Vedic Age or a Vedic Age or manu bilak eta group of people asile whether they have migrated or not that is still debatable. Hetu hitialoge contention to choli ase but they were known as the Aryans, all right? And the sources for the Vedic Age, jiman khini ami gyan pau, jiman khini ami knowledge paisu Vedic Age or pora, that comes from the four Vedas. Ki four Vedas ase? There is Rig Veda, Soma Veda, Yajur Veda, and what is the fourth one? You can comment down below if you know the answer. All right. So from those Vedas, the era or the age of Vedic can be divided into two periods or two phases. One is Rig or early Vedic period. And the second is later Vedic period. The early Vedic period of kele Rig koisile karon Rig Veda juntu asile juntu Veda asile pratham Veda, one of the oldest books in the history of mankind, right? So Rig Veda was during the early Vedic period. Hekarne he period tok Rig Vedic bulio koy. Baki jiman khini tinita Ved jiman khini likha goisile hetu later after the Rig Vedic period ot pisot he likha goisile. আমি early Vedic period কেটামান features discuss কৰিম তাৰ first feature to আমি discuss কৰিম polity. Early Vedic period or society polity কেনেকে চলিছিল বা political system কেনেকা আছিল. So they were ruled, the people were ruled by a chief called Rajan. ঠিক আছে? And Rajan was not hereditary, meaning at a form of democracy asile. ঠিক আছে? And this Rajan was the chief, okay? So under Rajan there were several other chiefs and those units were based on clan system. ঠিক আছে? Clan system asile because they were mostly tribalistic. Mane tribal features bilag asile jeneke tribal could eneke roja na thake, they have chief, right? So they had that system je unit bilag jiman khini horu rajanor tolot asile chieftains bilag hiotor unit clan wise division asile, clan system asile aru kuno divine doctrine mane kuno hetu belief pattern asile je amar chief to sorgor pora ahi ba bhagavan ba ishoror eta dak hoy boli hey divine doctrine system to nasile. Plus they did not have any standing army. Our army keneke form hoisile due to the contribution. Mane baki jiman khini horu chief asile hiote contribute hai korisile nijor manu nijor clan or members bilak hiote Rajan main Rajanok disile as army during the times of war. Aru hiotor jeneke moi mention korle second point Rajan not hereditary, so at a form of democracy asile. So hey democracy bilag hiotor meeting hoisile via tribal assemblies. So all those chiefs met in the tribal assemblies. So you had one Vidata. This is the lowest form of assembly. Then Samiti, then Sabha. So Sabha is like the parliament. ঠিক আছে এনে এক্সাম্পল এটা দিছো Sabha is like the parliament. Samiti will be maybe you can consider a state parliament, right? State assembly. And Vidhatha you can again go down and say council, right? So heneke tribal assembly eta formot bonwa asile. ঠিক আছে so heitue political features of early Vedic, that it was ruled by a chief called Rajan, and he was not a hereditary king or chief. Then smaller units were based on clan system with no divine doctrine on the chief and no standing armies, but they met through tribal assemblies. Okay, 8 points gita buji paise sage kiba jodi doubt ase 8 points you can definitely comment. And if we move to the economic features of early Vedic period amar ketaman features jonto very important, that is they were pastoral mane ki pastoral mane herding sheep, herding cattle. Pastoral income economy asile mane wealth to asile cattle ba yotor animals upor they, because they did not have regular system, they were moving from one place to another. They were still in the tribalistic features, right? Into my last slide bujalu that they had tribalistic features. So hey karne the economy was also based on those forms, that the pastoralism mane me rokhya ba goru rokhya nisina he asile manu bila. So here economy was the cattle, the wealth was on cattle. Then second point to jao jontu koise no regular revenue system. Obviously if economy was based on moving around a lot of places, regular revenue system keneke banabo? When people are not settled, you cannot make regular revenue system. It will be through exchange of goods or exchange of some form of materials. Heituke third point elaborate kora hoise that voluntary tribute asile. Voluntary tribute mane roja bilakok ba chief bilakok ete boli eta disile. ঠিক আছে আৰু bounty মানে হল যেতিয়া ৰেট ওয়াৰৰ পাছত যিমানখিনি বস্তু থাকে হেবিলাক ৰেট কৰা হয় হেবিলাকো মানে voluntarily chief bilakok দিছিলে. হেকাৰণে fourth point to তাৰ লগত directly connected, that gift exchange on group level was very important. মানে গ্ৰুপত যেতিয়া clan system of divide asile মানে grouping asile বেলেগ clans asile. So hey গ্ৰুপৰ মাজত এটা শান্তিপূৰ্বক জীৱন যদি বিচাৰিছিলে তেতিয়া হেতে গিফট দিছিলে হিজনক. তো সেই সিস্টেমটোৱে হয় barter. So economy was based on barter system. ইয়াত কোনো কনসেপ্ট অফ প্ৰাইভেট প্ৰপাৰ্টিও নাছিলে, কাৰণ হেতে pastoral মানুহ আছিলে, pastoral community asile. So they keep moving around from one place to another. So hence they have no concept of private property. Plus when they moved, they also okol goru ba sagoli rokhai pelaiu khabotu noribo. So they had to do some agriculture, but that agriculture was based on shifting type of agriculture. Then the societal features of early Vedic period jodi sao, there was absence of social hierarchy. Social hierarchy nasile, kuno moi upor toi tolot eneka system nasile, because they were based on the clans, and clans are based on families, right? So at the end sobe hijonor logot related asile. So nijor family members ase, nijor cousins hobo pare, nijor অলপ দূৰ কা ৰিস্তেদাৰ যোনটো হিন্দীত কয় হেনেকা হ'ব পাৰে. So there was absence of strict social hierarchy. যোনটো varna আছিলে, যোনটো আমি later part of গম পাইছো যোনটো varna আছিলে হেতু just এটা differentiation. যোন আৰ্যন আছিলে আৰু যোন আৰ্যন নাছিলে, হেই দুটাৰ মাজতহে varnaটো যোনটো এটা color, on the basis of color. Aryan মানুহ বিলাক অলপমান fair skin asile than the non-Aryan people had a little darker complexion. সেইকাৰণে সেই ভাৰ্ণাটো অকল সেইটোৱে ডিফাৰেঞ্চিয়েট কৰিবৰ কাৰণে বনোৱা হৈছিল. Plus the society had division of labor and gender. Labor or division asile kune ki koribo hetu absent nasile. By birth it was not associated that you will do this work or she will do that work. But there was division of labor because the clan system or they had to move around a lot. So when you move around a lot, people need to work together, right? So hey karne division of labor asile, division of gender, of course there has to be division of gender. Plus women were educated and could take part in decision making. Mohila hokologu education dia hoisile mane jiman khini nijor putrok gyan bilak dia hoisile. Similarly nijor swali bilakoko parents bilake education provide korisile ba gyan khini disile. Aru hei karne women could take part in decision making. Ei jiman khini tribal assemblies asile bidhata hok samiti hok sabha hok women were taking part in it because they also had roles to play in the society. Aru gutte society jodi divide at a division sai etu moi janeke kole on the basis of clan, on the basis of clan system. Karon clan system is based on the family. So people had strong familial ties because of the clan system. And then people who were free to choose their occupation. Jiman khini nijor kaam juntu kaam koribo mon ase tekhet hokol koribo parisile. There was no bound or bondage or a rule that state that you have to do this because by birth you are this, right? So people were free to choose their occupation because most of them were pastoralists. So pastoralists bilak most of them kam bahirot jabo mayor bilakok ene grazing kori loi jabo ba eneke goru bilakok bahirot loi jabo tate gute din khini thakibo. So jiman khini manu thaki gol gaot ba kiba nijor settlement er osora tekhetokole belek kam korisile. If we have to talk about the religious features of early Vedic period, both simple form of worship asile. The word ase animism. Animism is a type of worship that involves invocation of nature, mane nature worshippers. So forms of natures asile. Jeneke idol worship to enage nasile, but they used to worship the nature like Indra, Agni. Ebila ki hai? Indra was known as the Lord of Thunders, Agni, Lord of Fire. Then you have goddess Earth, etc. Vayu. Hey, heneke mane nijor bhagavan bilakok eta personify korisile. Aru hey bhagavan bilak personify korpor hoisile via nature because of the inspiration from nature. Je aji borokhun dise etu amar hey devata hoy ba hey devi hoy heneke khete personify korisile. So no idol worship. Prayers were offered in expectation of returns. Prathana bilak kora hoisile in expectation of some form of return. Mane jodi akal ahi gol gaot jodi akal ahise then they will pray to the rain god or Indra te yat borokhun dibo lage. So that was expectation. So the religion was not for social upliftment ba spiritual upliftment or karone nasile, but overall juntu society well being thakok ba society bhalke thakok hebilakor karone he prayers bilak offer kora hoisile. Hence there was no elaborated rituals or sacrifices. Etu mean kora nai je sacrifices nasile ba rituals nasile, asile definitely asile, but lengthy nasile. Very simple. You pray, you offer something, and then you expect the return. Etu form of worship as a simple form of ritual and sacrifices. And coming to the next topic in this course, that is late Vedic period or features. Ami eta ke again we'll see from late Vedic period. If we have to look at the polity, ami first early Vedic period gom palu je Rajan was not hereditary. The chief was not hereditary. Here, the king became hereditary in late Vedic period. There was a tribal junto organization asile, hetu hoi gol territorial. Mane hiotok tribal jetia early Vedic period a community was known as Jana, which is the bigger. After clan, there was Jana, meaning the tribe, the whole tribe, right? So, hey, tribal organization to Bonigol, Janapadas. Janapadas mean territorial, a whole area. So, from tribal organization to it became territorial. Kile territorial hoisile because they started settling down. Bohute rokhi gol, they have left pastoralism, they started settling down. Okay, which led to this integration of tribal assemblies. Of course, jodi tribal features the tribal assemblies or ki kam, right? And the kings followed a divine doctrine, meaning the rise of priestly clans gave birth to philosophies of divinity, juntu koi divine doctrine, that kings were sent by gods. That kind of philosophy crept in when in late Vedic period. Though Rojar hatot standing army nasile, but the military powers have increased significantly from the early Vedic period, and wars were fought for territories. Now, yet at a question ma hudibo bisarisu, if wars were fought for territories in late Vedic period, what was the reason for war in early Vedic period? So, if you know the answer, you can comment down below. Then, if we have to talk about the features of economy in the late Vedic period, agriculture became the chief means of livelihood. Ami agote gom palu early Vedic period that it was pastoralism, that is grazing of animals. But people started settling in the later Vedic period, and agriculture became the chief means of livelihood. That is bound to happen as they expanded out of their regions. They saw vast lands of fertile valley, that is the northern plains. Jeta Aryan hokol ba Vedic period manu hokole expand korile towards the east, then it is present day UP, Bihar, hebulagot settle hoi gol, and they saw there was lot of rivers, and the land was fertile, and agriculture became the chief means of livelihood. Heitur karone jite manu settle hoi jay, tite private property eta concept ahi jay. Eikhini mor mati, heikhini tumalokor. Hey, private property began to be recognized in the later Vedic period, and this led jite private property concept ahi jay, then there has to be a fix, or there has to be a systematic way to collect taxes and tributaries. So, collection of taxes and tribute became mandatory. Now, Raja, he has declared that he is sent by God, he has been ordained by God. So, collection of taxes became mandatory. Junto previously nasile. Previously, okol eta tribute disile out of voluntary reaction, out of love to the chief. They used to give bali or tributes. But here, in this case, in late Vedic period, the revenue system started picking up or started becoming systematic. And as soon as private property also began, the concept of mixed farming came into being. Meaning, manu hokole mixed farming korisile. Eta thaite various crops plus with the animals. Okay, hetuke koi mixed farming. And there was organization of merchants, which became a prominent feature of later Vedic period. Merchants, organization of merchants into koi guilds. Guilds mane hol eta organization by association. Jeneki amar yatu ase modern days we have this association, that association, right? So merchant hokolor jimankhini association asile hetu prominent hoi gol. Meaning aru eta kotha yat bujaise that in spite of agriculture being the chief means of livelihood, trading was also involved heavily. That's why merchants. Jodi merchants or presence konoba society gom poa jay tar mane bujay simply bujibo pare that it was meant for trading. Barter system was prevalent, but at a unit of value at a set kora goisile, which is known as nishka. Hey unit to the maximum trading or maximum business were done with that unit of value. So eitu hol economic features of late Vedic period. So if you have to compare all the slides, do compare with early Vedic period and Indus Valley civilization. Mains or like jita questions bilak set kora hoy, they normally don't ask the differences between early Vedic and late Vedic directly. I'm saying, okay, they might ask, but the chances are that they'll try to compare between the Vedic and the Indus Valley civilization. Hey bilak type of questions bilak apunaloge sai lobo ekbar, and definitely a lot of questions can be asked on these features itself. So this is a very important topic actually, if you have to think about that way. Then societies of features of society in the late Vedic period, that ki asile rigid social hierarchy develop. Apunaloke eta bortoman analyze koriboi parise sage that early Vedic was opposite, ulta asile sob late Vedic period or pora sob ulta hoi ase. So same way here also the varna junto okol color base kora goisile, who is Aryan, who is not, itia hoi gol caste system, a rigid caste system form hoisile, which was the fourfold divisions of the society junto ami pasaloke gom pao, that is Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. He bilak junto classification ahi gol hetu rigid hoi gol, ite social hierarchy ahi gol, Brahmin gita oporot, Kshatriya gita tolot, tar pasot Vaishya gita ase, tar pasot Shudra. He hierarchy develop hoi gol. So because of the development of caste system, there was no social mobility. Mane itia june Shudra hoy he Vaishyar kam koribo nware, june Vaishya hoy he Shudra loke ahibo nibisarile ba nibisarisile, right? And because of this no social mobility, occupation became on the basis of birth. Now a Kshatriya has to be a Kshatriya, a Brahmin has to be a Brahmin. A2 develop hoi gol, A2 later Vedic period or time out. Plus status of women also declined significantly. Agote mohila hokole porhisile tribal assembly partu loisile, yat the Parda system came. Mane women were confined to their own places of stay. Plus sati practice was developed into sati pratha, he will develop hoisile, and because of that child marriages became common. When this is actually history saying indirectly that to us, to modern society, that ami jodi amar mohila hokolok education nidio, then we can go back to the practices that were social evils in our lives, right? Child marriage common hoi gol late Vedic period. So taru bahut ketaman reasons ase, but particularly the status of women significantly declined in later Vedic period. Then we'll talk about the religion of the later Vedic period. Here moi jintu kolue ulta hoi gol, so yet idol worship became very prominent. Okay, and okol idol worship buli nohoy, jiman khini hiator bhagavan devo jiman khini devota devi asile hiatoru eta division ahi gol, a class division of class among deities, right? And the importance of Brahmins has been seen in this period onwards. The Brahmin hokolor importance bari gol society, they started practicing elaborated sacrifices and rituals, right? And hey division or division of deities also made some of the Rig Vedic minor gods, junbilag minor gods asile Rig Vedic timot, they became prominent, right? They became prominent. And one prominent god which was so much in so much in the rituals or mentioned kora goisile, that is Prajapati. Prajapati became prominent. এই দেৱতাটো ঋগ্বেদৰ টাইমতো মেনশ্যন আছে, but then he was a minor. তাৰ ইমান ৰোল নাছিলে এই ঋগ্বেদিক টাইমত, but as soon as it came to later Vedic period, it became prominent, right? And because of the importance of Brahmins, sacrifices and rituals became very, very elaborated. Hence, the king was thought to have a divine connection with God, because the Brahmins influenced the Kshatriyas, right? Because the Kshatriyas are the warriors, the defenders of the land. So Brahmins influenced the Kshatriyas, and Kshatriyas were made or positioned themselves that they were of some sort of divine ordinance. ঠিক আছে, সেইটোৱে মেইন কৰে গোটেইখিনি যদি আমি কানেক্ট কৰোঁ, there is always a connection. In history, there is always a connection. আপোনালোকে ক'ব নোৱাৰে এইটো কেনেকৈ আহিলে, এইটো কেনেকৈ হ'ল. There is always a connection. Okay? If you read between the lines, you'll find the connection. Okay? And finally, to summarize, what we have learned in this topic is that in Indus Valley civilization, junkhini urban life asile, Vedic Age loike rural settlements hoy gol. Mostly people prefer the rural settlements. So heitue mean kore that after a civilization end, the new civilization that starts has to be the opposite of what it was, and it has been tested in history. Then the prominence of Aryans in the northern part of India, right? Okol a history, the Vedic Age period has been taken from the north of the country, not from whole of the country. It's a misconception ketiyao ahibo dibo nalage that Vedic Age means the whole of the country's age. It only pertains to the northern part of the country or the subcontinent. Kele? Because Indus Valley civilization was also in the north, right? So after Indus Valley civilization, questions bilak khuda hoisile ki hol Indus Valley civilization or pasar. So people had to come up with answers. The researchers, the lot of people who have studied about all this, historians, they come that okay, there is this presence of this group via excavations, via reading the texts of the Vedas, right? So hey karne don't think that Vedic Age is pertaining only to the whole of the country. It's not only that. There are many other civilizations or many other settlements that we do not know of yet. And like I mentioned, sources of these people have come from Vedas. And Vedas are the religious texts which have become the founding base or the foundation of modern Hindu society. Okay? And finally, the last point was that there was social mobility in the earlier Vedic Age, but lahe lahe heibilako social mobility bahut rigid hoy gol, bahut tan hoy gol. Kele? Because there was a control by certain group of people, influence of divine connections. The sacrifices, rituals became very elaborated. So not everyone could afford all those. So hekarne the social mobility became rigid. There are various reasons that we can discuss in when we have the time, right? So this was all about the Vedic Age in brief. Okay, this is a crash course, so you will get all the things in brief. This is good for your revision. This is good for you if you are starting for the first time to prepare for civil services. Right. Next class we'll discuss about the aftermath of Vedic Age. Ki hoisile Vedic Age or pasot ebilak ami janim next class. So thank you for joining once again. See you soon.